How does chiropractic care and the work you do impact the immune system? How are those two connected? Why should people look at this and say, okay, this is for the overall immune support?
Well, it is part of the immune support. And I just, off the top of my head, I don't have a study or two that I could cite. But historically, it's been shown that when you're under regular care, that your immune system is strengthened from chiropractic treatment. And it goes back to basically removing the dysfunction on the system that impacts how the overall system functions. So, like I was saying, using the example of, hey, if we adjust a certain area of the spine, it's going to have an impact on colic, or it's going to have an impact on bedwetting. Well, some of these same areas have nerve centers that have impact on the immune system, vascular flow, lymphatic flow, things of that nature. Can you get your body to be more efficient? And that is part of the way that chiropractic helps the immune system in stimulating the neurological, connections.
If someone's listening, they have some back pain and they can't get to you right now, let's say, what can they be doing at home that can improve it? Is that movement and diet, or is there something else? Is it hot, cold therapy? Is it because people are a little bit confused by that, and sometimes they may not be able to get to a chiropractor right away to get that? Are there any general recommendation you could say you could be doing this at home to help your position right now?
The worst thing that we can do is not move. And another thing that would be kind of terrible is if you tried to force yourself to move. So there's that balance.
One or the other, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So essentially, if you're sitting prolonged or not moving, you need to at least try to stand up, even if it's standing up and sitting down every 15 to 20 minutes. If you can do a lap around your living room, just a slow lap, even if it's the Charlie Chaplin kind of shuffle step across the living room, just to kind of get a little bit of movement going, that can be positive. I'm a big fan of cold over hot. And, I think that's a consensus, basically, but you can do both. So 20 minutes of, some type of ice therapy on the impacted area. It could be a bag of frozen vegetables. Let's say you can't even get to the store to get an ice pack, get a bag of frozen vegetables out, try putting that on your back, not directly on the skin, but, within a layer of clothing, like a t-shirt or something on the area that's painful. Go 20 minutes on, leave it alone for 40 minutes or 60 minutes and do it again throughout the day. Some people say, man, I put ice on and it just hurts it. Well, don't do it then, if the body just doesn't like it. So go ahead and try the heat. The heat, same kind of method, 20 to 30 minutes, leave it alone. 20 to 30 minutes, leave it alone. What happens with heat, usually it feels pretty good, so people leave it on. And so what you've done is you've increased the vascularization to that area. And so you're basically overwhelming that area with too much blood flow. And so then you get this negative cycle going on where, hey, it feels really good. And when I take it off, it's kind of sore. And that's because you've got too much blood flow there and it's irritating the area. So then you put the heat on again and you just keep that negative cycle going. So you should go, 20 minutes on with heat, 40 minutes off. You could do heat for 20 minutes, cold for 20 minutes, and then, a good 40 minutes off. So those are a couple things that, you can try at home. Hydrate yourself well. That's a really important thing. Try to find positions that are, not hurting you. I've joked around in my office, if it feels good to stand on your head in a corner, do that, so you can get out of the pain, but that's not something we want to do on a regular basis,
Yeah.
So there are some things you can do at home to help the pain potential, and then limit your exposure to carbohydrates. When you're in a pain pattern, carbohydrates are just going to increase the inflammation. And so I would limit your exposure to carbohydrates. The things that make you feel good, like maybe it's a pop or a cookie or something like that, it's just going to increase the inflammation and cause pain. And people don't connect that dot. 5 minutes of enjoyment of what you're consuming is going to add however many hours of pain, to your situation. So those are a couple of things you can do at home.
That's a really good point, because I think too many people don't consider what they're eating as being part of the problem when you think of pain or you think of some sort of, inflammation or anything, where absolutely what you're putting into the body is going to cause the body to react in a certain way. And most of the sugary processed carbs that we are eating and consuming in mass amounts is
Yeah.
leading to a constant inflammation. And guess what? If you already had inflammation, what's it going to do? Add more to it, more pain, more inflammation.
Exactly.
And we keep eating that way. And unfortunately, then we get in the cycle because we're almost addicted to the food we're eating, right? Sugars are incredibly addictive. I see my niece and nephew, when they have sugar, they are different kids than when they're just eating the vegetables, right? Completely
Yeah, exactly.
different.
Yeah, and it's the same with virus. You know, a lot of parents fall into the trap that, hey, Susie and Jimmy don't feel very good, so we're going to give them a popsicle. We're going to give them a glass of apple juice. You know, it's like, no.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah.
I know. And nowadays it's so hard because the kids want it. They're going to parties and everything. They're going to have the cake and they want that. And they'll cry if they're broccoli or cake, you know, they're going to cry if the broccoli's given and cheer with the cake. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, listen, you got to be able to set those boundaries for the health of your child, right? And there is a moderation. They could still have cake. It's not that they'll never eat the cake. It's just be very aware of that, because you're right. Whether it's immune system, whether it's inflammation, pain, all of that, what you put into your body via what you eat is a huge source of that. It's a huge factor within that.